Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a special Herschel Talkers presents the College Football Hour holiday edition. Just when you thought all the presents were gone, we found one extra present. Now, the bad news is it might be a dog turd wrapped up. However, it's the gift that keeps giving, as in smells, and that you'll never love that person that gave it to you. So this is the holidays, special edition, presenting with once again, of course, Trey and a special guest, Kris, casual fan, and Angry Scott. Boys, how are we doing?
Doing
Fantastic.
well. Hey, quick question, Scott. Since you just mentioned that, best and worst gift this Christmas year.
Best and worst gift?
Yes, it's you were just saying a big old smelly turd as your gift, whatever it was.
Well, for the record, I didn't get a big smelly turd. Okay. The question is, did I give one? Have you looked outside your door yet, Trey?
Not yet.
I gave you a white bag. It's on your front doorstep.
Billy Madison.
It says it's on your front doorstep. Please light.
Okay. All right. Hey, I'll say mine. Mine was I kind of needed it. I got a bathroom rug. When you like mom, I did ask. I just said I needed some stuff for the house. That was probably pretty lame, but I needed it. And
it's a solid, responsible gift.
It is. That was, you're getting older when you're getting domesticated. And I guess the best was actually, I'll say it was a work gift. They gave me this big, huge desk pad and had the Georgia G and everything on it. So you can put your laptop and everything, but covers your desk. And it's got the big Georgia G and 1785. And anyway, it's pretty cool.
That sounds like, Trey, they still want you to be there. So that's the gift of further employment.
That is good. Yeah, it was good. It was by a coworker, but yeah, it was sweet.
Oh, okay. Well, if it wasn't about your boss, you might be in trouble.
All right. There you go. All right, jumping right into it. Scott, let's go over some of these bowl games. First off, I guess we're on the back end of the crappy bowls, as they say, but some of these names, and you can go off on that. What was the best name you've heard or sponsor?
Well, what I'll say is, if you said, if we played a game, is this a bowl game? Some of these are like, there's no way this is a bowl game. And you're like, you got to be shitting me. This is a bowl game? So, I mean, I kind of make a joke that this is another reason to expand the playoffs because you got the who gives a damn goal presented by, I give a fuck. And by that, I give a fuck is the fans of those two teams. Or you're stuck at some holiday party or some family event over the holidays that you want to do, or you're just a degenerate gambler like Trey, then by all means you need some action. Because let me tell you something, every time that Western Michigan and Nevada gets together, I can't miss that. And I'm pretty damn sure that was on that wasn't on Christmas Day. I think that was after Christmas Day. That was the Quick Lane Bowl. Okay. Hey, Georgia State and Ball State, the Tax Act Camellia Bowl, that was on Christmas Day. So you just must be that damn hungry to watch some football. So I think my favorite though is the Pube G Bowl is what I'll call it. Mobile, New Mexico Bowl. UTEP and Fresno State. Because let me tell you something. Every time Fresno State and UTEP play, dude, you can't miss that matchup, man. Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida. Yeah, those games are great. But, dude, UTEP and Fresno State are playing? Get the hell out of here. I mean, let me clear off my schedule to make sure I can watch it.
Exactly. Jimmy Kimmel, LA Bowl, Utah State. Hey, Myrtle Beach Bowl. I'm sure we've all taken to Myrtle. I'm not sure, Kris, if you went there. I wouldn't recommend going there, but it's pretty bad.
Is it called the Dirty Mortar Bowl?
Myrtle Beach Bowl by text. Yeah, that was bad. Tulsa.
He's actually been to Myrtle Beach, and he has a shirt to. I won't say what is on the shirt, but I've got
a crappy shirt to commemorate
the visit.
I don't know. We think of Myrtle Beach as kind of like the armpit of South Carolina. Kind of like I kind of refer to it as like Daytona Beach. If you ever been to Florida, sorry, all this.
Florida. Yeah.
Pretty bad.
I think we have a lot of COVID bowls out there presented by not getting vaccinated or COVID spreading events. So I mean, that's the thing, man. There's been a lot of bowl games that's been canceled, and as I've already said, I don't care whether you want to get vaccinated or not. Those are personal decisions you need to make. I also say to give the other side of it. At what point in time we're going to get that? It's just like, hey, man, these are the COVID times. Like, are you feeling okay? Don't spread it. Stay home. But, like, do we need to cancel the bowl game? It's like NC State and UCLA were playing in the San Diego Credit, who gives a whatever, Credit Union Bowl or some bullshit. I'm serious.
You're right here.
Okay, and, of course, UCLA, they got to travel at least an hour or two to get that bowl game. So I'm sure they're super excited to play the Wolfpack.
Scroll back up. Where's that Gasparilla Bowl?
Is that the Gasparilla? Is that one of your favorites?
Oh man, I shotgunned a few beers before that game. I was ready.
Gasper.
The thing is, that's crazy about that game, but you got to be pissed off if NC State. Dude, it's one thing if a game you canceled the day before or a couple days before, but dude, it gets canceled a couple hours before you flew out there from Raleigh, North Carolina to San Diego, and it's like no bowl game, So it's pretty nuts.
I really like that because Gus Bus from UCF put the whooping on the Gators, who I hate. So I actually like that one, Kris. It was really good.
Oh yeah, and a fight broke out too.
Exactly.
I did see that.
They said that place was packed, by the way. I think UCF traveled, being like an interstate game. I think that was a good crowd. I didn't really watch much. I just saw they lost. And I know Scott likes bringing it up. We'll go ahead. Hey, SEC dominate now. 0-4.
0-4 board games, dude. I thought it was supposed to mean more. But that's probably not the postseason. So, and dude, not only that, didn't Mississippi State lose by 28 to Texas Tech?
Yeah, that's wild. Texas Tech had a really good defense. I couldn't believe that. And Mississippi State had a really good offense. I mean, throughout the year, but yeah, they hung a big old 7. The fighting Mike Leaches didn't do well.
I mean, yeah, dude, so the Big Ten right now, of course, is undefeated, which means nothing to me. But by undefeated, if you want to be remain undefeated late into bowl season, don't schedule bowl games early. But we're 2-0 in bowl games. Minnesota beat West Virginia or some BS, and Maryland pounded up on Virginia Tech, 2 6-6 teams. I mean, dude, if there was ever a reason, and Kris and I have been to Bird Stadium, we even got some boardwalk fries. That's a whole nother story that got spilled. And anyways, that's a whole nother funny story I won't get into now. But if there's ever a reason to go ahead and expand the playoffs, once again, this is what it comes down to. I said at the very beginning, even Ohio State got in, it should be 8 teams. If you want to expand it to 12, do it to 12. I think you should do home site games. And there's another reason, man. You got 6-6 teams. You are literally awarding mediocrity. You're a 500 team. One of those teams is going to be one game over 500, Maryland in that case, and Virginia Tech 6-6 is now has a losing record. So if you're not a fan of those two schools or a degenerate gambler like Trey, why are you watching that game? I guess because nothing else is on. Okay. Right. So by all means, I think if you still want to award and have these BS games, because it means a lot it probably does mean a lot when Georgia State and Ball State play. Okay, cool. Sweet. Have that bowl game and, kill 3.5 hours. But the ratings got to suck for those games, man. So, everything changing in college football, NIL deals, all this transfer portal stuff, I think that's the next evolution. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I've just always wondered, on these sponsors, and you see them change names all the time. Are they losing their butts on these games? A lot of these sponsors, they just change names all the time. And I'm sure didn't get the tickets that went in. They put a lot into it. I was just always wondering, they actually make any money besides the big bowls, or the New Year's Eve at playoff bowls, or Duke Mayo. What was it? The Belt Bowl for a couple of years.
That's in Charlotte.
Yep.
Dude, this time's terrible. I don't know who's 11:30 a.m. I was asking, you drink coffee or mimosa for tailgate and just go to it? That's actually
a little bit of both.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, dude,
can it be both?
That's rough, man. The other thing is, I think it's all about TV dollars. I think from a TV standpoint, hey, you pay for these, but at some point in time, don't you got to start looking at people actually watch these things? And you get in the holidays, and people, they're either taking the holidays off, or maybe they're not working hard, or I don't have off, but I'm just not working very hard. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and catch a couple of these, but some of these I can't do. I'm a college football junkie, and I can't get excited about these. You know what I mean? So I don't know. By all means, keep all these BS games if you want to, but I think you just got to expand the playoffs. What do you think, Kris, about an expanded playoff?
I think expanded playoffs are just it's a formality, right? As soon as they find out that magic formula where sponsors get profit and buku profit and logistics, it's only a matter of formality. So it's coming. I'd love to see it, and I can't wait until they do it. But until then, I guess it's going to be condomdepot.com bowl or whatever old MMA sponsor you got, or more Duke's Mayo.
And the answer to all your questions, Kris, is money. So as soon as they get the money right, then dude, think about that too. If you had some of these games that were like on campus, oh man, that'd be nuts. That'd be phenomenal. And then they talked about with that 12-team playoff that 4 people were going to get buys, and then the top 4 people that won their so would get a bye. So the 4 teams that are playing right now, except for Georgia because you didn't win your conference, Michigan would get a bye, Alabama would get a bye, and I'd say Cincinnati would get a bye, and somebody else, right? I guess Notre Dame's not a conference, and so I don't know who would drop to. Maybe I don't know who it is after that, who's the highest ranked but I don't know. I think it's just it's only a matter of time. I think it has to happen. What are your thoughts there, Trey?
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited earlier in the year when they announced the 12 and then the whole Texas Oklahoma merger. I think kind of like pushed stuff off and delayed it. So I think.
Did you say merger? So in Texas and Oklahoma, are they one school right now?
No, well, they're coming to SEC.
The SEC to have more
bottom
losses.
feeders coming to bottom feed in the SEC.
Yeah, and then that's why Lincoln Riley said, "Screw that, I'm going to USC," which is smart probably. But I think that delayed it, and I thought 12 was a bit much. I mean, as a Georgia fan, would have liked it. Probably would have gave us more of a shot of trying to get in each year. But I think going back to, I agree with you, Scott. I think 8 would be a good sweet spot. You can get some of the non-Power 5 teams in, like the Cincinnati's. And Notre Dame will probably be in there more than you'd want. But I think 8 would be good. But 12 was a big stretch, even though I would have liked it. But I think it's going to be interesting with the whole Oklahoma Texas thing delayed it, so this could be down the road, but I like 8 is what I would like.
Yeah, I think 8's a sweet spot.
Yeah, I think here's the thing, man. I think what you do, and I will say this, if you ask for 12, you're like, wow, there's too many, well, I was just back into 8. That's what you do. You ask for more, oh, you give me less, and you were fine with less. So maybe that's what they're doing, and they go to 8, and then maybe eventually it becomes 12. And to your point there, Trey, I was thinking about some of the different coaching things. So I could see Lincoln Riley, of course, heading off to USC. So now he won't be in the SEC. But I was thinking about, tell me again, because we got cut off when I was putting in my fast food order at McDonald's there. We got cut off in the last segment. Who is your coach that's heading there? Is it Dan Lanning? Is he heading to Oregon?
That's correct. Yeah, he's the DC.
So the thing is, if he has success, he's just going to ultimately come back to the South, because that's what happens. Mark Cristobal, wasn't he part of Alabama staff at one point in time? Or what staff was he a part of?
Yep.
So he goes to Oregon. They're like, we'll pay you whatever you want. He's like, yeah, but I'm from Miami, won national titles as a player, go back to Miami. Willie Taggart was in Oregon for 1 year. Okay. And then he's like, oh, this is the only the school I'd leave for is Florida State. So Oregon, man, it's actually a beautiful state. I've been there a couple times. I mean, I understand that it's not like South Beach. I get that completely. But how do you go? It's a weird spot to be in for a big program that, if you have a lot of success, then your guy's probably going to leave, especially if he's from the South, but you have to also have somebody that wants to be there. Historically, somebody has a lot of success at Georgia, they're going to stay. Right? Somebody has a lot of success at Ohio State, they're going to stay. Or, maybe the shelf life of your average coach, of a really good coach, is about 10 years. You know what I mean? Give or take. So I don't know. What are your thoughts about that there, Kris?
I think you said it all pretty well, Scott. I have nothing else really add to it. You covered all the bases, dude.
I had a question on that. So let's say I know he's not from there. He's at alumni. Do you think somebody like Mel Tucker, even though I know he signed that big 10-year contract, do you see him maybe coming back? Because, he did coach under Alabama, or Saban in Alabama. He did coach under, Kirby Smart. You think he might come back to the SEC eventually, or you think he's kind of like, all right, that's my alumni, Michigan State, I'm going to stay?
Well, man, he might, but I guess Mark Dantonio, former Michigan State coach, he was our D coordinator at Ohio State. Dude, apparently he played college football at South Carolina, never came back to the SEC. Okay. And I the thing with Mel Tucker, man, I think he has potential to be a great coach. I think after he got blown out by Ohio State, was it 50-67? I would run to sign that 10-year contract. I mean, I don't blame him one damn bit for going and take that 10-year deal, $95 million. Who the hell won it? But, it's also, they're scared to death Michigan State of losing another great coach like they did Nick Saban when he went to LSU. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I take it to these agents, man, to put you floating all this information out there. Hey, they might leave and everything else. Apparently, Brian Kelly has a Southern accent right now when he went down to LSU, even though he's from like the Northeast. And
my family.
Been down in South Bend for, you know, he's the winningest Notre Dame head coach, but he didn't win a national championship. So I don't know. I mean, he could be great, but dude, it's like, you know, I think two people were two donors, you know, were the one that were more or less paying Mel Tucker's salary, which is nuts. But dude, 10-year contract is a long damn time. So is he going to leave? It's going to be tougher to leave, isn't it?
I think he's going to wear his welcome out after he gets his ass kicked a few more seasons. Michigan State's going to have all the leverage. They'll cut him short, and then that'll give him a chance to go back south.
Yeah, I agree with Kris. I think there's some loopholes in these contracts because you know how it is. They have a short leash. He goes 6-6, 3 straight years. There'll be some smoke, some hot seat coming. I think that's anybody, but I mean, he'll get paid, but it'll be a revolving door.
And to your point, man, in the Big Ten, I've talked about this in other podcasts. They're the hold on too long conference. Now, I mean, Jim Harbaugh, you know, they're like, oh, lifetime contract. Well, up until this year, he sure sounded to deserve a lifetime contract. Okay. Now, what they did is they're like, hey, you want to remain coach? We're gonna pay you less. Now he starts having success again, they'll pay him more. Scott Frost, you know, there's one thing that's guaranteed: if you're in Nebraska this year, you're going to be in a close game and you're going to lose. So they took his buyout down a bunch, and so that's how they can kind of get you to hold on. And both those guys are going back to schools they played at, but Mel Tucker didn't play. You know, he actually was an assistant at Ohio State there for a while under Tressel. So I got nothing against Mel Tucker, and hey, I'm all for him having success, just not against Ohio State. So it's a bunch of money, man, and you know, but you know, Jimbo Fisher got that 10-year contract right at Texas A&M. He's having a bunch of success. So it's, you know, if Mel Tucker continues to have a bunch of success, man, he might very well get plucked away again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But one question I wanted to ask real quick, just because it's been crazy. And do you think they can maybe NCAA can add some stipulation on it? What's your thoughts on the transfer portal? It's just it's almost like when you get these recruiting classes, you're thinking like, yeah, some of these kids will probably stay 1 year, 2 years, maybe 3. 4 is rare because of the whole pros. But do you think maybe they should make like, hey, you got to stay at least 2 years or some kind of? I just feel like it's kind of like the Quentin Ewers guy. Like he, you know, didn't stay for his senior year, and then he got paid that NIL money. Then he went to Ohio State. Then he transferred to Texas and hadn't even taken a snap yet. You know.
Well, the last thing I'll say about that coach comment, obviously, like Ryan Day is getting underpaid. I know he just lost to Michigan, but if guys that haven't done as much, like Penn State's coach and Mel Tucker are getting these $95 million contracts, we're obviously underpaying Ryan Day. So we got to pay him. And to your point with what's going on with the transfer portal, I think, you know, college football has been backwards for so long in terms of everybody's making money except for the kids, and everybody gets to make decisions. Like a coach can leave at any point in time except for the kids, that it's like that pendulum has swung the other way. So I still think that, you know, there really almost needs to be like a Power 5 or a big time college football, like, you know, Roger Goodell, but not Roger Goodell because he kind of sucks, but some version of Roger Goodell. I'll say more like an Adam Silver, but like for college football, right? That they can say, hey man, you can transfer one time. I actually do agree with the whole, hey, it didn't work out here, transfer one time with no penalty. But then if you want to transfer another time, you got to sit out for a year, because to your point, Quinn Ewers, he transferred, man. Like he only had like a couple snaps at Ohio State, and his deal was that you know, Texas, one of the few states that didn't have a you as a high school football player, which you know they're going to change that. You couldn't make an NIL money. So, and you know, companies want to give him a bunch of money because he has an Instagram, social media following. So he goes to Ohio State, plays a couple downs, gone. You know, I just hope he's not our Justin Fields, like, you know, as he transferred from Georgia to Ohio State. But, you know, man, it's also a possibility he's a bust. You know, 5-star guys are busts as well. I think Chris Olave was only a 2 or 3 star. And, you know, Ryan Day went out to go see another quarterback. And then if he found Chris Olave, it's like, nobody can cover this kid. But, you know, he just, he had moved around a couple different high schools or something like that, or his family just moved into the area, so nobody knew about him. And he turns out to be a stud. So I think people get caught up on the whole 5-star thing. Yeah, dude, you want a bunch of 5 stars. We want a bunch of 5 stars are going to pan out. I'm fine with a 3-star guy that, is a first round draft pick. But to your point, I mean, I think there's got to be some kind of commissioner for college football that, puts a little bit of some rules in place. There's been too many rules and too many stupid rules from the NCAA for years that now we just got to go and have some kind of, so people the transfer portal is like crazy. Tennessee's team from like 2020, like half of the team went to the transfer portal. I mean, the only good thing is if you're a big time school, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, you can say, "Ooh, there's a guy I can go pick." Like we got, who was the guy, the running back, Kris last year? Was it Sermon?
Yeah, Trey Sermon. He came from Oklahoma.
Yeah, so that was a great addition last year. But the other side of it is, we had this last year probably one of the most talented quarterback bunches in the whole country, honestly. And then, but Quinn Ewers, boom, he transfers. Jack Miller, he was, got like a DUI or whatever, and then he was from Arizona. Now he's down in Florida. So right now, the backup is Kyle McCord, and he was like a 5-star guy. And then, of course, we got C.J. Stroud. So maybe McCord will wait around. I did see that. Take this, Utah. We signed Devin Brown, was a 4-star quarterback from Dripper, Utah. He's coming to Ohio State. Now, if somehow Utah goes and takes it to him, is he going to want to transfer to Utah? I don't know. It takes it to Ohio State, the Rose Bowl. But, I mean, I think there's got to be something that changes. I just don't know how you get all those guys in the same room at the big conferences. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What do you
let me weigh in on this one. So this whole transfer portal thing's still pretty new, right? It's been around for a couple of years. And if history tells us anything, NCAA doesn't act quickly on anything. So I think the athletes are still getting a feel for the transfer portal. NCAA, they're still getting a feel for the chaos. So I think my guess is they'll wait another couple of years just to see this whole thing maybe reach some kind of a steady state before they go ahead and say, okay, maximum 2 transfers, or you have to wait a year if you immediately want to bail out on something. I do love the whole concept of the transfer portal, though, because again, it adds a little bit more parity to all the schools, right? So teams like Cincinnati, they can get a running back developed at Bama. So Ford, UC's running back, didn't get a lot of burn there, but he can instantly transfer to Cincinnati. Immediate contest or immediate starter and immediate impact. So, and you see benefits from a guy that's been conditioned, developed, and bulked up from a premier program. You're going to see it again. You're going to see it all over the country, but I think it just adds a little bit more spice to the whole NCAA, especially for football.
Yeah, I agree with that. I still think on the transfer portal, you can't really like live off that because some of these teams are like, oh, we'll just get someone. I think it's more or less, you got a crack in the boat, do a little plug or a little area you're not deep in. But some of these teams are going to try to like live off the portal, and if they're not recruiting well, and I don't think that's a good recipe.
I mean, look, man, I kind of look at it, to your point, I kind of look at it as like it's free agency. Okay, but it's free agency, but you can sign as many people as you want to. You don't have to worry about the money part of it. But well, maybe you don't have to worry about the money part of it. But anyways, you can sign as many guys as you want to. To your point, it's kind of like you still have to, if it was just baseball, you still have to have a good farm program. You know what I mean? And then bring everybody along. So it's like first it's recruiting and everything, and then pluck a couple guys. It is very interesting to see like Deion Sanders at Jackson State, that he went and brought that 5-star guy that he turned him from Florida State to come to Jackson State. I also
that was massive.
As good as what Deion is doing there. I mean, the rumors there too is he wanted to go and spark some interest. Like, hey, talk up this Florida State job for me years ago, even though he wasn't a real candidate. Now he keeps on having success at Jackson State, man. Yeah, dude. By all means, he's going to go the next. He's going to go to bigger college football. And they even said, hey, I'll go after this TCU job, whether he had interest or not. I mean, man, Coach Prime, people want to go and play. Everybody remembers him in the NFL, or they can go watch, some YouTube video to find him in the NFL. at some point in time, he's going to go to big time college football. But the fact that you could sign, it's one thing when your son comes there and he's a big high recruit, cool. But that's the other thing, man. Like you got to do a 5-star kid to then come play Jackson State, and the NFL don't care. You if you can play, they're gonna sign you.
Right.
So you look at the people from Division II, Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, that have had success in the NFL. It's just I kind of still think too that's the other thing. If it doesn't work out for this kid, oh cool, I'll just transfer someplace else if I don't get along with Coach Prime. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's the other thing I'll say about that is though, I think most of the kids are still going to want to go to the big time college football programs because it's still tougher to find a Jackson State game. Carson Wentz, man, he's from North Dakota State, but unless you're a kid from North Dakota and your goal is to always play there, can you really get, how many people are going to want to go play for like North Dakota State, smaller college football when you can? It's one thing, when you're Josh Allen, you play for Wyoming because nobody knew who you were. And he transferred from like a junior college. But otherwise, if you can play big time college football, I think most of them are going to,
Oh, yeah. And a tag on, if you guys are worried about, multiple or a whole bunch of frequent transfers kind of ruining the quality of the game or just the quality or integrity of the football, coaches are going to start to hear about these frequent transfer kids, and it's going to start to ding or go against their new reputation or their reputation that they're trying to build. So guys like Tate Martell, he can transfer all he wants, but if you're going to pan out, you're going to pan out. But also if you make this reputation known that you're not very committed, then guess what? Your chances of going to Georgia's or Bama's or even Miami's they're gonna start to fade, and all you're gonna have left is like SMU or somewhere else to maybe get an opportunity because they're not gonna deal with you if you're fickle, if you can't commit to the team.
Well, and to your point, man, that's a good point because these other kids, man, it's if I can just transfer everywhere I go. The Tate Martell is a perfect example. Goes to Ohio State, things don't work out. Justin Fields going to come in, goes to Miami, and they're like, "Are you sure you're a quarterback?" And now he's back at like UNLV. So it didn't really pan out for him. But Joe Burrow, man, Ohio State, didn't work at Ohio State, goes to LSU, got developed at Ohio State, sure as hell didn't get developed at LSU, and but has success and then number 1 draft pick doing good in the NFL. So what you would want is any program to just like, hey, we get the best guys. And then if we can't hold on, I hate to have these other guys transfer, but it's like, that's because CJ Stroud, man, Heisman finalist, so it didn't work out. And somebody then goes and transfers, which you just don't hope happens is what happened to Georgia when they lost Justin Fields is here's a stud that then took them to the playoffs 2 times. And even though Jake from State Farm was, a leader and took him to the national title the year before. I understand why Kirby Smart doesn't want to take him away from being the starter, but dude, it's, sometimes you want to go that next level. That's what you have to do. You have to be the Nick Saban. Hey, it ain't working out for Jalen Hurts. We're going to put in, Tua Tagovailoa in the second half. They said if Tua didn't play in that game, he said if he didn't play, he was going to transfer. It's just in the world we live in right now with NIL. What's interesting is some of these smaller schools, are they going to be able to get some more, with the Cincinnati's of the world, be able to get more kids? Because then they say, oh, I'll give you this NIL deal. But then in a place like Cincinnati, you tell me, Kris, being Cincinnati native, are you going to really have this? Are you going to have these? If you're a car dealership, would you rather have, a Cincinnati Bearcat at your dealership, or would you rather have a Cincinnati Bengal at your dealership?
Can it be both?
They've
got
to spend.
Say again.
It can be, but how much money you got to spend?
Well, it's Cincinnati. They're going to the Big 12, so they're going to have all the money. Ish.
And after they win the national championship against Georgia, then it's going to be like, hey, man, everybody's going to want to go to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Ohio State, who, right?
They're making waves. So technically, as much as it hurts to say, but my family will agree, Cincinnati's the best team in Ohio right now, right?
Ooh.
And they can actually hang their hat on that.
No doubt.
And again, Luke Fickell sorry, we've already had this Cincinnati discussion, but since I'm here, Luke Fickell, he's got to hang that on his hat, right? He's got, hey, we're going to the Big 12 soon. You're going to get a ton of exposure. to some of the better programs now. Again, best team in Ohio. He's already winning some key recruits, right? So some kids in the greater Cincinnati area that would typically just automatically default and go to Columbus. Now you've got a contender. You've got a little bit of thought. And with this whole transfer portal thing, they can go, why not? I'll give Cincinnati a shot.
Do you think
right?
he's there long term? Luke Fickell, his name comes up in like every coaching hire. Do you think he's going to be there long term, in your opinion? Or you think?
Man, I hope so. I really do, because he's good for the school, and I think, again, since they're going to the Big 12, I think it's really going to help with retention. But again, if a big name comes around, then it's going to be hard, right? I mean, they're doing all the right stuff now to keep him.
10 or 15 million a year, something crazy, comes.
Yeah, I mean, there was a rumor that he was considered for the Notre Dame job, but I mean, the whole city there was this
that's exactly
fear,
what I was thinking,
because they said, yep, Luke's a great fit for Notre Dame, just values wise and coach wise, and also, I mean, he, from what I hear, he kind of likes South Bend as well, so. Again, it was a relief that Cincinnati was able to keep him, but hey, who's to say the next go around that he won't leave?
Exactly.
And that's what I was thinking of too, Kris, with all of this. That's another thing. Did they change this early signing day period? Because that's why some of these coaches, like Brian Kelly, still had a chance to make it into the playoff. Okay, albeit a fool's hope. And then he still, boom, left LSU. So Marcus Freeman's first game for Notre Dame could have been in the playoff. Now it's not. It's going to be playing Oklahoma State. But I was thinking that Luke Fickell, man, you're talking about a guy from Ohio, went to Ohio State. So I think probably one of the only jobs he leaves for would be at Ohio State. But some of these other things, I just didn't see him as good fits. I don't necessarily see him out at USC. And that's not saying he wouldn't have success. I just don't see him there. I think they got the right guy in Lincoln Riley. But, with Notre Dame, I kind of thought that, man. I kind of thought, I could see him going to Notre Dame, and I wonder if they're not playing in that championship game, against was it SMU or was it Houston, who they played with, whatever the AAC championship game was. That's why they brought on Marcus Freeman. And I like Marcus Freeman a lot. He played, he played at Ohio State, and he was defensive coordinator under Luke Fickell at Cincinnati last year. And hey, the players really like him. And then next year they play at Ohio State, so I wish him success, except for when they're playing against Ohio State, even though hating Notre Dame, but. I like him a bunch. I just wonder that if Luke Fickell, I think he could have went there if they weren't up for like making it into the playoffs,
Agreed. He does not want to end up like it would be bad press if he kind of bailed on Cincinnati, kind of like country boy Brian Kelly did.
No doubt.
Remember that one? Oh, hey guys, I'm not going to leave. I promise. We're going to do great. And then, oh, hey, see ya.
That's right, man. Yep, no doubt. What are your thoughts on all the NIL and all that shit that changed there, Coach Trey?
Yeah, NIL, I didn't really like it at first, but I can see now why the kids are getting paid, which is great. I just think that's fine. I just think they need to do something with the transfer portal. I just think it's wild west, and I kind of agree with Kris that NCAA is really slow. It might be 3 or 4 years, but if they change it, maybe I can see it they could say, hey, can't leave within 2 years, something like that. And maybe you can only do it once. You get one mulligan. I think that would change a lot of things. So, hey, at least you're getting 2 years, and, it's not becoming like NCAA basketball, these one and dones, because you can't build chemistry with the team and no one stays around, and I can't play. So I'm just going to bounce,
Well, and some of that's got to be, man, you got to stay around to see if it works out. So, I mean, you got 18 to 20-year-olds, sometimes, hey, you got to go, but there's other times, I think, to your point, you got to stay around. Now, I think there should still be some kind of commissioner, but what would you be your solution for it then?
Yeah, I agree with a commissioner, or if maybe each conference would maybe handle it. I don't know if that would cause problems, but yeah, that's a good question.
Yes, chaos in the NCAA even more. If each conference were able to control their own transfer rules,
that'd be
that'd be chaotic.
Yeah,
I think it would be cool if they just kind of wrote in some stipulations, right? So, case in point, Mr. Commitment, Brian Kelly, if he goes and leaves for a program, and hey, I'm a recruit, I just committed to your prestigious university, and now the coach is gone. So guess what? Now I got some dude I don't know. Now I may have to stick around with a coach and a system I don't necessarily fit in, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if they wrote in specific language on some of that stuff in this grand plan to kind of control the number of transfers, I think that would be a fair approach.
Yeah, but they already have that right now, that if your coach leaves, that, hey, that's a reason where you can't leave. So for that, I do agree. But yeah, I think it's just one of these, oh, I went here, I'm not playing right away. Boom, I need a jet. Well, maybe you get one shot at that, but then if you go to the next place, I'm not playing right away like you should. But like, was in a Kanye West that wants to live in a different state every year. I'm like, well, hey, college football, do you want to go and do you want to play for a different team every year? Because at some point in time, dude, you got to stick something out, you know? Then it really
you got to make a commitment somewhere.
Football program you're on. That's right. Well, do you have any other words of wisdom to add there, Trey?
I don't. I thought I was we covered a lot of things, and I pretty much agree with everything you guys said.
Well, that's right, because I was right on everything. That's good to hear.
There you go. Hey, if everybody's still hanging around, make sure to rate and subscribe on Herschel Talkers on YouTube. We post everywhere, and give us a like. And go Dogs and go Buckeyes, right?
Absolutely.
We appreciate Kris joining us. Maybe he'll come on down the road with us again.
I'd love to, guys. Thanks for having a casual fan like me on, and good times. Thanks for bringing me on.
He just hopes both teams have fun. I like
no.
Uniform is what it says. Ooh, I like their mascot. Hope they'll win. Casual fan Kris.
Not that casual. So, all right, fellas. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
See you guys.